told them went through storms, through rain. I had heartaches. Sure enough, I had some pain. But
KGLD 1330 AM, K285GY 104.9 FM, Tyler.
It's your girl, Michelle D.I., Mrs. Divine Intervention herself. To all my helper bees out there, you know who you are. Those that are always helping everyone else and neglecting yourself. Yes, boo, look in the mirror. I'm talking to you. Here to let you know God has not forgotten about you. I've been sent on divine assignment. It's time for Reflections Choosing Me Guilt-Free. That means 30 minutes for your mind, your body, spirit, and emotions. And don't act like you don't have time. You have time for everyone and everything else. Sit back and relax, because if you're here, that means this show is for you, or it's for someone you know. But most likely, it's for both of y'all. Deep breaths, love. Let's go. Well, hey family, hey family, hey family. It is your girl, Michelle Allen Franklin. Yes, Mrs. Michelle D.I. Why? You know, boo, for divine intervention, honey, because there are no coincidences in this world. Only God's divine intervention in our lives. And Mrs. Community Builder, why? Because you know your girl's going to give you the good information, boo. The things you need for your mind, your body, your spirit, and your emotions. And family, y'all know, I tell you every week, if you hear my voice, boo, it's Monday. It is Monday. What is today? Monday, August the 18th, y'all. It is August the 18th. Your girl is on the radio, and y'all know I'm happy to be here with you. How y'all doing? How you doing? How was your weekend? Let me tell y'all something. I had an amazing weekend. I have to give a couple of shout outs before we continue our series real quick. On Saturday, my baby girl Marley was a part of an amazing event. This was the second annual event thrown by Miss Antoinette Jackson. She is the president of EmpowerNet. EmpowerNet is a networking business that helps small businesses. And on Saturday, they had the babies out there. They called it Kidpreneur. It was the Kidpreneur second annual event. Those babies were out there with their little businesses. You had jewelry businesses. My daughter face paints and sells her artwork. You had another baby out there selling artwork. They had t-shirts. They had all different kind of things. One baby, they made lemonade. Oh my goodness. It was just so cute. It was so cute and so inspiring and so empowering for our young people. And the founder of EmpowerNet, she said that she started this because her mom inspired her and encouraged her as a young entrepreneur. I want to say she said she was 13 years old with her first business. And so that is what it is all about, family, is, you know, reaching back and helping the next generation, and know that these babies are never too young. We have to start looking at their gifts. Our babies are gifted, y'all. They are so amazing. And what would it take for us to just take a minute, recognize it, and pour into these babies? Where would they go and where would they be, and what's the difference? Yes. And so know that you're going to be seeing mines. Baby, so if you're having a party, if you are needing a little face painter to come to your party, best believe, honey, she is for hire. If you have a painting that you want done, or if you just want to support the girl and get some artwork, I'm plugging my baby today. Her name is Marley Adams. Her business is MKA Art. She came up with it herself. I'm proud of my baby girl. And those other babies that were at EmpowerNet, just shout out to Kidpreneur this weekend. That was on Saturday. Yesterday, I had the honor, the pleasure, and the privilege to sing at my pastor, Dr. Deborah hopes her first pastoral anniversary. If you didn't know, your girl is a member of the General Assembly Church of the Living God, PGT. 1326 North Palace Street. We call it the Palace. Because our pastor, she's the queen. She is the queen, and it was amazing. Y'all, mm, if y'all wasn't there, I promise you.
Real queen.
I know that's right. Look, I know that's right. Listen.
Yes, she is.
Listen, Overseer Sharon Wickwell was there and did her thing yesterday. It was amazing. It was amazing from the beginning to the end.
It was a blessing.
Thank you. You know, she came and did what she do, which is just destroy the whole thing. She blessed us. She blessed us yesterday with the word. She was our honorary speaker yesterday. It was amazing. And so shout out to my pastor again, Dr. Deborah Hopes. You know, it is one of those things where, change, things coming in and bringing in a fresh, renewing spirit. And from the day, everyone says it. My baby girl, Marley, did a tribute to her yesterday and spoke. And she talked about from the first moment she walked in, how she felt different. And I said, this is amazing if the adults can feel it. Because when you talk to anyone that goes to the church, the adults feel it. And then for the babies to feel it, right? That, is she's just a gifted. I'm blessed and honored to be there with her and under her tutelage and learning from her. And everything that she's doing and the vision that God has given us and the way that she's taken our church is just nothing short of a blessing, nothing short of blessing upon blessings. And so thank you. Yes. And the theme yesterday was the best is yet to come. Baby, I can't wait to see what God has in store. I can't wait to see what God has in store. It's a blessing. Also yesterday, I want to give tribute and mention to another church that I love, Great Alive Cold Church. They had they have a new building. I'm like, I can't get it out. I'm so excited. They have a new building. The Campbells, Pastor Campbell, Erica Campbell down there. They have a new building and celebrated yesterday. They have a revival coming up Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week. And so y'all pay some love to them. That's Great Alive Cold Church. I want to give them a shout out and was praying for them yesterday and praying for their revival. Your girl gonna make one of the nights. We're gonna make one of the nights. Y'all try to make one of the nights. Great Alive Cold Church. They are doing positive things down there as well. Well, family. We are wrapping up on our series. Y'all know your girl has been doing a series called Hot Girl Summer. Yes, Hot Girl Summer. And so what was it? Last week of July, we started this series, Hot Girl Summer, and we've been talking about that the past couple of weeks. Last week, I had a special guest, and because, I was feeling, I need to bring the boys in this some kind of way. I mentioned it the last week, but I needed to bring the boys in. And so that was my guest last week. I had a guest, Brandon Payton. Came in last week. And so let me just jump on into it, okay? Okay. I got all my notes here, y'all, because I didn't want to forget anything. So as we're wrapping up today, so the very first week we talked about the healing season for the wounded and worthy. The healing season. Let me close the door. Look. The door don't want to close, y'all. That's all right. The healing season for the wounded and worthy. We were unpacking the story of the woman on the well week before last, and how the labels, y'all, just the labels of being fast or not being good enough, right? but understanding and knowing that in God's eyes, because we put so much judgment on ourselves, don't we? We hold ourselves hostage to our mistakes. We hold ourselves hostage to so many things, right? And then there's this unworthiness that comes up on us. But is that how God sees us? It's not. That is the amazing part. It does not matter what you have done, how long ago you've done it, if you did it yesterday, if you did it 20 years ago, right? We put these locks on ourselves. I call them chains. We put these chains on ourselves. We bound, right? Our arms, our feet. We're only going so far. We're holding ourselves hostage. We're sitting in a cage in this jailhouse, like we're trapped up in there, and the door is open. The chains and the key is, you don't even need a key. The key has been given, right? Yes. Because what? Jesus went to Calvary, to save a wretch like you and me, baby. That debt has already been paid, so you free, boo. Then we shifted the conversation to the men. Last week, we shined a light on adult ADD and ADHD. And this was where I brought the boys in. And this was especially important for me because the struggles that are missed, especially for our boys growing up, and the effect that it happened, just like I was talking about the gifts that our babies have. And last week we talked about how the boys could be labeled, bad boys. My cousin talked about not being able to sit still at church. So he used to get whoopings, right? And he used to be told that we're going to beat the devil out of you. When this baby really at 40 years old was diagnosed with ADHD. So all this time, this baby getting spanked. This baby getting told he's bad, right? Imagine that from just a young age, being told that you're bad, you're a bad boy, you're doing bad things, you have the devil in you. And where did he end up? He ended up in prison for some time. Where else was he going to end up? I'm just saying. Where else was he going to end up? Imagine that. Imagine how different life would have been if we would have known. And this is no shade. Please understand and know, because his mom is she's passed away now, but she was my favorite auntie. I used to come down every summer and be at her house. I was coming down here, going to her house every summer. My favorite auntie. Okay. No shade, but it is, understanding and knowing, man, that is why I like to talk about these and have these uncomfortable but necessary conversations, because we didn't know back then. They weren't testing the babies like that back then. And even some years ago when the testing started happening, it was don't put my baby on them drugs, and that Ritalin is that and that and the third. And, understanding and knowing, and I shared last week, my baby girl Marley has ADD. She didn't have the hyper, but she has the ADD, the attention deficit disorder. And so she's on medications, and she speaks highly of being on medication and knowing the difference. Right. And so understanding and knowing the truth being told and healing happening through knowledge, y'all, through just knowledge. So today we're wrapping up this chapter. I'm just going to talk a little bit about what happens with these labels, right? When you're labeled a hot girl, when you're labeled a bad boy, when you are not diagnosed, when you have a broken past. Healing always requires us to grieve what we lost so we can embrace what God has ahead. So just again, I want to go over the stages of grief and how it shows up. Everybody thinks that grief is just, somebody passing away and then you're grieving. No, grieving is just a loss. If you just Google grief is simply a loss, right? The loss of innocence, right? With that hot girl who may have been over sexualized, right? It may have been touched inappropriately and then responded, in a way that her body didn't know that she was traumatized, right? loss of innocence, loss of not being seen, the loss of being misunderstood, right? The stages of grief show up at more than just funerals. They show up in our healing. So let's deal with these stages. Let's talk about it a little bit. Denial. We've talked about them before, but we're going to talk about them again today. And I like to talk about it every 6 months or so because one, I just won't be so cocky in my mind to believe that everybody's heard all of my shows, right? And so, yeah, we talked about it before, but I talk about it every 6 months or so, just for the new listeners. So there are these 5 stages of grief that I'm going to go through. There are 7, but I always go through 5 just for the sake of time. So denial is one. Denial is when we say, I'm fine. How many times somebody asks you, how you doing? I'm good. Nothing's wrong. I gave the example a couple of weeks ago about the woman at the well trying to hide behind her story, pretending like it didn't matter, right? A lot of these boys with the ADD and ADHD that are going unseen because nobody recognizes what's really going on. And so either the parents are in denial, or sometimes you're in denial about where you are. As an adult, I am being tested for ADD. My therapist has recommended it, and I'm going. I'm not offended in any way. She's recognizing that I'm showing some signs, and I'm going. Is that something for me to be embarrassed or ashamed about? No. What it's going to do is going to help me to realize maybe these are some things that I'm struggling with. Could it help you to realize, for you to just acknowledge some things maybe you've been struggling with that you're ashamed and embarrassed about? You don't tell anybody about it. You don't talk about it. That's denial, boo. First stage of grief. You're not telling anybody about it. You're not telling anyone about it. So what are you doing? You're suffering in silence. And that's just not necessary. We have too much knowledge. There's too much information. There's too many resources out there. And so let's not do that anymore. At this point, it's your choice if you choose to suffer. But I just want you to know that it's not necessary. All right, boo. Stage 2 is anger. This is the frustration that rises when labels weigh us down. A girl called fast when all she really needed was love. A boy called bad or lazy when his brain was simply wired differently. That anger is real, and sometimes it's the only way people know we're hurting. And so I'm going to do a part 2 podcast edition with my cousin that was here last week, mainly because there is a lot of grief that happened in his life. There's a lot of grief that happened throughout my family, even when I think about just my aunts and my uncles and the things that they're going through, right? I was interviewing another cousin, and the cousin said, when my grandfather passed away, and he passed away in 78, I think on another podcast I said 77, but it was 78 when he passed away. I was a baby. I was 1 year old around that time. I was born in 77, but nevertheless, he said, I never grieved. He said, I haven't grieved him yet. He's over 50 years old. And so what it made me realize and made me think about was my aunts and my uncles, that had they taken the time to grieve. Has anyone taken the time to grieve? Have you taken the time to grieve? And are you going through these steps? Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Are you going through the steps? Have you been through the steps with someone in your family? And this anger stage really gets our boys. When I think about my cousin that was with me last week, spending so much time in jail, right, of his life, why did he make the decisions that he made? How frustrating was it to have a foundational person in your life, your grandfather, foundational person in your life to pass away. And then a few years later to have another foundational person, your father, to pass away. And for no one at that period of time to, was counseling available? Mm-mm. Or back in the day, if it was, then you were going to pay at least over $100 to see a counselor, and nobody was doing that, especially not in our community, not so much, right? Can we see how our boys and how the system, it really does speak to the amount of boys that are in the system right now that are locked up, that are in jail, that have this unprocessed anger. What do they do with all of these feelings and emotion that they've gone through in grief? And I'm not making excuses for people's behavior, but at some period and point in time, there's got to be a conversation about some understanding as to what happened. What happened? Because our babies are not born bad, nor our girls are not born bad, or nor are our boys born, quote unquote, bad. These babies are not born that way. And so what happens and how that anger shows up, and anger is real when people are hurting as well. Hurt people hurt people. I can't get any clearer than that. The third stage of grief is a bargaining. This step is, if I just do this, maybe, right? If I do this, maybe. You're bargaining. The woman at the well had been in a relationship after relationship, 5 husbands. Maybe she was thinking that the next man will finally give her or see her worth. How many of us still bargain with our past, with our families, or even with God, trying to earn what is already given freely? I didn't know that I had unworthiness in me. I talk about it. Y'all know I have a podcast. It is on YouTube, Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free. Under the Demonic Entity series, I have a episode. I'm like, what's the word I want to say? I have an episode called Unworthiness. That's under the Demonic Entity series, and it is how, the demonic spirits show up in us. It's unworthiness. The devil is what? Seeking, lurking. How can he get you? But whisper in your ear, but make you feel like, right, that you're unworthy, especially from the mistakes that you've made in your past. These things hide in our subconscious. We don't even know that they're there. And this is why I'm so passionate about talking about the subconscious mind, about talking about the things that we don't even realize, our behaviors, and why do we do the things that we do? How are you showing up in the world? How are you not showing up in the world? Why are you not showing up in the world? Right? Next phase is depression. This is one of the ones that everybody is really clearly with. And when I was suffering from depression, I thought it was just the depression. I thought it was just the anxiety. But no, at the end of the day, I was grieving and I was in the stage of depression. It is exhaustion. It is silence. It is feeling and being invisible. It is being overlooked. It is feeling unworthy for whatever reason. Our boys experience this, of course, being misunderstood in school. Women feel it when shame makes them hide, right? I talked about being in a season of life where I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't do my hair. I gained a bunch of weight. I was hoping and praying, maybe I could just sit back here on the side and nobody say nothing to me. But that really didn't work because it didn't matter what size I was. It was always somebody that liked that size. So ladies, you can't hide if you don't want to be seen. Somebody likes it, right? Somebody going to still look at you. Somebody's still going to say something. Because why? Because you're a beautiful spirit, honey. Because you're a beautiful spirit, right? And God didn't send us here to hide. Depression is the valley we often don't talk about, but it is real, y'all. The next stage is acceptance. This is the breakthrough stage where you are okay. What happened was okay. I don't have to carry this anymore. When Jesus met the woman at the well, he didn't condemn her, right? He accepted her, he restored her, he sent her back as a witness. That is what healing looks like. When you no longer fight your past, but you use it to walk in purpose. And that is what your girl is doing. And that is what I pray for each and every one of you under the sound of my voice. I pray that you heal and then are able to walk in purpose. Grief doesn't mean something is just wrong with you, right? Grief means that you're human, boo, that you have a heart, that you had a loss. In every stage, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance is not there to destroy you. No, it's there for you to grow. You are not your label. You are not your diagnosis. You are not your past. You, beautiful spirit, are in process. Yeah, you're in process. Process with God leading us to purpose. Right? You may be wounded, but you are still worthy. You may have been overlooked, but you are still chosen. I always used to think, Lord, who would want to listen to me when God gave me this? I said, Lord, what? Why would they listen? What you want me to do? You know, when God gives you an assignment and you're like, wait a minute, who? You want me to do what again? What you want me to say? Mm-hmm. But you are still chosen. It does not matter what. It doesn't matter what you've done, boo. You are still chosen. So I need you to remember that. It does not matter what you have done. What did I say? Say it to yourself. Look yourself in the mirror right now. Pull up your phone. Look at yourself on your phone. Look at your camera. You are still worthy, boo. You are still worthy. Okay? So as we wrap up this Hot Girl Summer series, honey, we are done with this series. You know your girl will be back with another one next week. But I want you to remember the healing season is just beginning. I want you to join me on the podcast. And because we're going to be getting into some stuff. Your girl is starting this video blog. All that is coming together. So y'all join me on Reflections Choosing Me at YouTube as well. Y'all know we only have 30 minutes. So your girl got to go. We out of time. Bye, family. Intervention. Thank you for tuning in to Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free with your girl, Miss Michelle D.I. Every week, we will have the uncomfortable but necessary conversations as it relates to your mind, your body, your spirit, and emotions. You've suffered long enough. It's time to break free. So join me every Monday at 1 p.m. right here on KGLD Radio, where you can fill your spirit with gospel all day long. See you next week.